So I've had my iPhone Air now for about 5 weeks. I got it on the date it was released, September the 19th. Yes, it's about 5 weeks or so. So I've had a good chance to use it, put it through its paces. So I thought a quick update on my thoughts would be useful. Okay, so the iPhone Air. What do I think after having had it now for a month and using it as my main phone? Well, my only phone. I only have the one iPhone. Well, the TLDR is that I still absolutely love it. I don't regret my buying decision at all. I don't think I've made a mistake. I still love the thinness, the lightness, the elegance, the beautiful screen. As regards the three issues which I talked about last time, and which have been the ones that most critics or people that have had reservations about the phone have mentioned. Well, firstly, battery life. Okay, so I've really had a chance, of course, to see how battery life goes. Now, my experience is that, as I indicated previously, it's not an issue. Certainly not for me. Now, I have to admit that in my case, where I'm no longer working full time, I'm at home a lot of the time, so I'm perfectly capable, able to stick it on my wireless charger, my Belkin wireless charger, and keep topping it up. Even when I go out in the car, although it has wireless CarPlay, I can also, there's a USB-C slot there in the car, so I can top it up there if necessary. I've done that on, I think, only one occasion I've had to do that. But so, it really isn't an issue for me. Now, I've noticed that since I set it to the 80% charge limit, which is recommended, isn't it, to maintain battery, to enhance the battery life. Then yes, if I don't charge it up during the day, it will, by come evening time, the battery is pretty low. I say that generally doesn't happen to me because I'm topping it up all the time. If you weren't in a position to top it up, then you might be best letting it charge up to 100% every time. Of course, that will, to some extent, I don't know how much, but it's in, the suggestion is that would shorten the battery life a little bit. How much, I'm not sure on that, but you have to take that into account, of course, if you decided to charge it up to 100% every time. But in my case, 80%, I say that lasts fine, no problem at all. I have purchased the battery pack. In fact, here it is. There's the battery pack. But I've never had to use it. I bought it in anticipation of when we go on holiday. Again, I mentioned this last time, that in that case I wouldn't, if we're out all day sightseeing, whatever you do on holiday, of course, and using my phone a lot for videos and photos and other stuff, directions, then I don't want to run out of battery. So I have got this battery pack, which I'll take with me. It's very nice. It's typical Apple, very elegant. Charges the phone up to 65%, is it? I mean, it will do the job what I want it for. When I'm on holiday, and if battery's getting a little bit low, slip it on, and everything will be fine. So as far as battery life is concerned, it's definitely not an issue for me, and I don't think it would be for most people. The second issue was the camera. Now, it does have only the one camera, so it's clearly inferior in that respect to the Pro and Pro Max, and indeed just the straightforward iPhone 17. But I haven't found, again, it to be a problem. As I mentioned before, even when I had the Pro and the Pro Max, I actually very rarely used the telephoto or the ultra-wide lens. I tended to use the main, the wide lens, which of course this has. And so the photos I've taken have been great. It's good enough for what I want to take. Most of the photos I take, I do not miss a telephoto. I very rarely use that. I've got a proper camera with a zoom lens I can use for telephoto, for zoom pictures, for zooming in, much better. The thing I haven't missed it so far, but that's probably because it's of the season. It's more in the summer that I tended to use the ultra wide lens for macro shots, for photographing close-ups of flowers and insects and so on. Not so much, of course, in the autumn and winter. So I suppose I might miss it more come next spring, next summer. But what I'm probably going to do actually is to buy a proper macro lens, from Nikon, to go with my Z5 II, and that will, I'm sure, undoubtedly take better macro photos, better close-ups than the ultra-wide lens on the iPhone, even though it did take some very good photos, I have to say. So I might miss that a little bit, but not enough for me to not go with the Air. Now, of course, for other people who, maybe use their iPhone exclusively for photo taking, then, I'm sure they would have gone for the Pro Max, or just the straightforward iPhone 17, because that, of course, has got two lenses rather than one. But again, for me, it's this fact that I've only got the one lens has not been an issue at all. The final issue I mentioned briefly, and this I can really deal with, is the single speaker. Well, that's not a problem at all, not in the slightest. I got some AirPods 3, so I use those most of the time. If I do need to just listen on the speaker, say I'm just watching a TV show or a film where the sound quality is not crucial, then it's fantastic. It's fine, absolutely fine. It simply is not an issue in the slightest. And again, I suspect, I no hard evidence on this, but I suspect that again most people with iPhones probably got some AirPods or some other similar Bluetooth headphones. So use those, and the sound, of course, is absolutely fine. So the fact that it's just got this single speaker is not an issue. In fact, to some extent, I'm not quite sure why Apple includes such good speakers, stereo speakers in the iPhones anyway. Is it maybe for videographers or something? I'm not sure, but I'd be more than happy in future if my iPhone only had this single speaker. It wouldn't be a problem. So, my thoughts haven't changed. I don't regret my decision in the slightest. I think the elegance of the phone, the lightness, the slimness trumps, don't use that word, overcomes any of the possible limitations which you'd have. Although, I don't really consider them to be limitations. The single lens, the single speaker, the smaller battery capacity. I haven't found them to be a problem anyway. So, in that case, in my case, obviously people will differ. In my case, it doesn't. Those things are not an issue anyway. So the real benefits of the Air, the thinness, the lightness, the elegance, and so on, are the things that I really enjoy, and I'm really glad that I bought the Air. I shall probably, if Apple does bring out an iPhone Air 2, whatever it's called, next year, then unless there's something really compelling on the Pro Max, then I'm almost certainly stick with the Air in future.